Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. My name is Syed Murtaza Hassan, and I am the founder of Merzia Islamic Center. I'm sure many of you have heard about the ongoing case that has been investigating fraud and misappropriation of funds by the management of Dar-E-Abbas. I have prepared this video to share with you important updates regarding concerns that have been raised about the handling of funds at Dar-E-Abbas. Over the past year, and along with our lawyers and a forensic accountant, we have carefully reviewed the situation, and while some of what we discovered was extremely sad and difficult to hear, it is important that we address these matters openly and honestly. In this video, I will walk you step by step through the background of the case, our findings, and why they matter for our community. My sincere hope is by presenting the facts clearly, we can work together to uphold the values of truth, justice, and transparency that have been taught to us by our prophets and our imams. Nothing is more important in this world than truth, honesty, and justice, and especially when it comes to our Islamic centers and Imam Bargas. Please take the time to watch this video with care. This is not about personal disputes or family egos. It is about protecting the integrity of our community, safeguarding the trust of donors, and ensuring that our centers truly reflect the teachings of Islam and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Let us begin. This case began when my late uncle, Dr. Syed Reza, made a restricted donation of $250,000 specifically for the construction of a mosque at Dar-E-Abbas. A restricted donation means that the funds must only be used for the project for which they were given. These funds cannot be used for anything else. Before making this donation, my father and my uncle had several meetings with the board members of Dar-E-Abbas, including the president, Ali Assad, and the treasurer, Masood Rizvi. During these meetings, both Ali Assad and Masood Rizvi personally assured my uncle that every dollar of his contribution would be handled responsibly and used for the intended purpose. Based on those assurances and with no reason to doubt the integrity of the leadership, my uncle committed his support to the mosque construction project. For my uncle, this was not just a financial contribution. It was an act of faith, a legacy he hoped would serve generations of worshippers and bring him reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My uncle, Dr. Reza, was an intelligent and experienced man, having conducted business all over the world. He did not just blindly donate money to this organization. Instead, one of his conditions for making this donation was that Dar-E-Abbas provide him with periodic updates on the progress of the construction and how the funds were being spent. The management agreed to this request and reassured him that everything would be according to their agreement. Here is a picture of the contract that was signed by my uncle, my father, Ali Assad, Masood Rizvi, and notarized by Syed Waqif. This contract lists all of the projects that were to be funded by my uncle's donation. Once my uncle made his initial donation, the mosque construction project was started. However, soon after, my uncle requested updates on the finances of the mosque build, but was met with silence. My uncle would periodically ask for updates from the management of Dar-E-Abbas, but was never given any concrete information or finances to review. Sadly, in September 2021, my uncle ended up having a stroke and became bedridden for the last 6 months of his life. During this difficult time, my uncle would ask my dad for updates about the mosque project. Because the management of Dar-E-Abbas refused to share any information with my father about the project, despite his repeated requests, there was not much my dad could tell my uncle about how his funds were being used. In April 2022, my uncle passed away, leaving my father in charge of his estate and his businesses. As the executor of my uncle's estate, my father made another attempt to obtain information from the management of Dar-E-Abbas regarding how his brother's donations were being used for the mosque construction project. The reason for this request was because my father noticed there were portions of the project that my uncle funded that were not completed. Specifically, there were 6 bathrooms that were to be built and completed. The contract also included upgrading the current septic system. Rather than being met with transparency and gratitude for my uncle's support, we were confronted with resistance from the management of Dar-E-Abbas, and in some instances, threats, and were told to stay out of it. We even reached out through community members who had good relations with the management of Dar-E-Abbas, hoping they could help us access the records. Sadly, they encountered the same obstacles and were given false assurances that all information had already been shared with my uncle and our family. Some of these false assurances were made by the management of Dar-E-Abbas while standing inside the Zari room at the mosque. Now pause for a moment and consider the position my family found itself in. We were in the midst of recovering from the loss of our beloved uncle, who gave $250,000 with sincerity and faith to a mosque. Yet we faced dishonesty and intimidation simply for seeking clarity about how his donation was being used. And it is very sad to say this, but anyone who has interacted with the president of Dar-E-Abbas, Assad Ali, knows exactly what I mean when I say we were met with dishonesty and intimidation when dealing with him. Aapne to bibi ko de diya were the words of his management team. Not, yes, of course, here are the records, please review them, and thank you for your generous donation and for supporting our mosque. Brothers and sisters, it is important to understand the responsibilities that a nonprofit organization holds towards its donors. Every donor has the right to ask how their contributions are being used and to review financial records if they wish, regardless of whether you donate $1 or $1,000. Nonprofit organizations exist because of the generosity of their donors, and this accountability is crucial to prevent mismanagement, fraud, and corruption. Furthermore, a well-functioning nonprofit requires educated and experienced board members who can oversee one another and ensure transparency. These safeguards exist not to create barriers, but to honor the trust placed in the organization by those who support it. Next, I will share how the board of Dar-E-Abbas has failed to uphold its responsibilities and how the organization appears to be operating in a way that serves the interests of one individual rather than the community it was meant to support. After repeated attempts to obtain information, my father and I realized we would not receive the transparency we were entitled to from the management of Dar-E-Abbas. It became clear that more decisive steps were needed. Prior to this, our lawyers had sent demand letters to the management of Dar-E-Abbas requesting for us to see the financial records related to my uncle's donation. Of course, these letters were ignored. Following the guidance of our lawyers, we decided to hire a private investigator to uncover information about the operations of this so-called nonprofit organization. This led us to engage Wayne Dolcefino, whose agency produced the video that many of you are familiar with. Let's revisit this video and focus on the key moments.
please.
Okay, so this is
Right now.
You want me to leave?
Yes.
You don't want to share with us what
Right
you're doing with all
now,
the donations?
right now. I'm telling you. You gotta leave right now. Bad.
Whatever happened in his final months, Dr. Reza just wanted a simple accounting, an accounting mosque leaders refused to give him.
Like he been asking till he died. They never gave him any record about the money he gave, what happened to that money.
So we wanted to know why the mosque was keeping secrets.
Any organization that does not have 100% transparency has something to hide.
Dr. Reza donated a lot of money for this building.
Well, I cannot answer. You have to talk to him.
Why can't you answer?
I cannot answer anything.
Well, you're in charge. Mosque members who complained to us say this man, Amir Naqvi, has fled to Pakistan. He's the brother-in-law of Ali and a member of the foundation board. Ali's wife, she's also on the board. It's a family affair.
अगर किसी को ये शक हो तो मैं इस जगह पे इस पोडियम पे इस फर्श अज़ा पे खड़ा होकर ये कह रहा हूँ खुदावंद मुताल उसको और उस शख्स के खानदान को गर्क और तबाह और बर्बाद कर दे कि जिस शख्स ने इस कौम के पैसे में से एक पाई भी अपनी जात पे.
So all we have is the foundation's tax returns. They report $915,000 in donations between 2017 and the end of 2021.
This tax return is not prepared correctly.
We sent the tax returns to accountant Patrick Durio to analyze.
If I were getting ready to donate to an organization like this, and I saw these type of discrepancies, there's no way in the world I would donate.
The foundation declares no employees, yet there's a salary expense every year, averaging $50,000 in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, they just don't jive.
Let's see what the head of the foundation says during our unwelcome visit. You have a $50,000 a year employee. What's the employee's name? On your tax return, you claim a $50,000.
Yeah, that's a preacher.
The preacher. The Maulana at the Dar-E-Abbas Islamic Center is Wasim Abbas. But listen to what he said when we called.
All right. Can you tell me what your salary is, please? What are they paying you?
There is no salary, okay, but whatever the services I provide, I get paid for that.
Before he died, we know the doctor also started donating up to $7,000 a month to the foundation, specifically to pay the Maulana. We have the receipts.
Dr. Reza has given you money directly to help support you.
That was his gift. That was his gift that he has given to me.
Shia mosque members look to the Maulana to respond to all the allegations being aired out loud inside the mosque.
4 साल से मैं भी यहाँ मौजूद हूँ मुझे पता है कि जिस तरह जो इंतज़ामिया इदारे को चला रही है जितना पैसा आ रहा है वो भी मुझे पता है मेरे मैं मसूद रिजवी साहब फाइनेंस को देखते हैं मैं उनसे पूछता रहता हूँ कि क्या फंड आया है और अक्सर जवाब ये आया कि मौलाना जितने माहाना खर्चे हैं उतना फंड नहीं आया.
So all we have is the foundation's tax returns. They report $915,000 in donations between 2017 and the end of 2021.
मुझे पता है कि जिस तरह जो इंतज़ामिया इदारे को चला रही है जितना पैसा आ रहा है वो भी मुझे पता है मेरे मैं मसूद रिजवी साहब फाइनेंस को देखते हैं मैं उनसे पूछता रहता हूँ कि क्या फंड आया है और अक्सर जवाब ये आया कि मौलाना जितने माहाना खर्चे हैं उतना फंड नहीं आया.
But when we talked to the Maulana, he changed his tune.
I have no information and I cannot comment on anything.
But do you believe that they are accounting for the donations properly?
I have no idea, man. I cannot comment on anything. I don't know what they're doing.
इन सब का मसला क्या है? मौलाना डेली बात करते हैं. मौलाना never fight. गलत को गलत नहीं कहना. सही को सही नहीं कहना दरमियान में बैठा रहना उसके लिए भी अच्छे बन जाएंगे इसके लिए भी तुम दोनों अच्छे हो भाई दोनों अच्छा चलना.
So here's a summary of what the video revealed. Ali Assad, the president of Dar-E-Abbas, is unable to answer questions about how my uncle's donations were used in the mosque construction project. Amir Naqvi, another board member, expresses anger inside the mosque for being asked about accountability, cursing those who misused community donations. Maulana Wasim Abbas, while standing inside the mosque, states, I know exactly how the donations were used in the mosque, and I keep track of all donations along with Masood Rizvi. Yet, in a later phone conversation with the investigator, when asked about the donations, Maulana Wasim Abbas says he has no idea and cannot comment on anything.
But do you believe that they are accounting for the donations properly?
I have no idea, ma'am, and I cannot comment on anything. I don't know what they're doing.
This video highlights a troubling lack of accountability and transparency from the leadership of Dar-E-Abbas, the very people entrusted with the responsibility of managing tens of thousands of dollars in community donations. Brothers and sisters, let us remember, this is a mosque we are talking about. This is not a Dairy Queen business or a commercial enterprise. This is a non-profit organization created to worship Allah and teach Islam. When the management of a mosque cannot answer basic questions, and when even the Maulana is unable to provide clear and honest answers, it signals that something is deeply wrong.
The biggest complaint that I hear is that there is no transparency. And with no transparency, there is no trust. And with no trust, there is no community. My intentions are not to humiliate or make anyone feel bad with my words. But I want this to be a wake-up call for all of us, and especially the leadership of this mosque. This is the house of Allah. This is not a business. My uncle did not build this mosque for others to make some extra cash on the side. My uncle did not build this mosque for others not to be upfront and honest with their accounting. Every nonprofit organization should have 100% transparency so the people who know exactly where their money is going. And any organization that does not have 100% transparency has something to hide.
After my speech, Wasim Abbas attempted to reassure the community by saying everything was fine and that there was nothing to worry about. Unfortunately, this only highlights the seriousness of the situation. The most disheartening part is that my father and I had met with Wasim Abbas just the day before my speech. In that meeting, Wasim Abbas fully supported our concerns, acknowledging that the mosque was not being run properly and agreeing that financial transparency was necessary. And yet, the very next day, when faced with the public moment, he changed his words. And why wouldn't he? As an employee of Dar-E-Abbas, he was in a position where speaking openly could jeopardize his livelihood and his income. In that moment, rather than standing firmly for truth and justice, Maulana Wasim Abbas chose to prioritize his paycheck and spoke to calm the congregation, sacrificing accountability and transparency. Not only that, but he personally got involved by saying that he checks the accounts and keeps an eye on donations, and everything is fine. Of course, this turned out to be a lie, because our investigation showed that Maulana Wasim Abbas is not involved in finances or donation tracking whatsoever. In fact, he stated this himself in the phone conversation with our investigator. Brothers and sisters, this is a painful reminder that truth and justice can be compromised when personal interests are placed above the interests of the community. And in this case, the personal interest was in the form of a monthly paycheck of $3,000 to Wasim Abbas. After reviewing the troubling findings from Wayne Dolcefino's investigation, we realized it was necessary to take actions to hold these individuals accountable. At this point, our lawyers concluded that we had sufficient evidence to file a civil lawsuit against Ali Assad and the management of Dar-E-Abbas.